Good evening. Welcome to the July 12th, 2022 Common Council meeting. We begin our meeting tonight with a public hearing at 7:25 for proposed local law number 4-2022. The local law is to amend the charter of the city of Glens Falls to redraw the 5-ward boundary, to redraw the local law, the 5-ward boundaries of the city of Glens Falls. We have a new map for the committee to present to us. Tonight we have a resolution on our agenda that we could pull for further comment if we'd like, but I want to remind the council and the public that the resolution is just to accept the work that the committee's done. We would leave this public hearing open for 2 weeks until the next common council meeting. Take all public comment until then, and then if we all have consensus that this is the public and we agree that this map is the best and that there's no further changes that need to be made, we would entertain a motion to accept the law, finalize the map, and then forward this information on to the county, who would then put it on a public referendum. So tonight's resolution is only to accept the work done. And I'd like to call up Bob Curtis to talk to us, if he would, about the new map.
Thank you, Mayor, County Council. This is like deja vu all over again. As the late great Yogi Berra once said. The last time we met, we were going along and putting the map together. We're now in our 4th iteration of it. We were looking at scaling back to 10% difference from most populous to least populous. And then we received word, and it was news to me, the state says 5% difference from least populous to most populous. So that really changed the dynamic on a lot of things.
And Bob, let me interrupt you there. So that information was given to us by Sarah Frankenfield?
Sarah Frankenfeld, yes, gave us the information. I have it in a couple of publications. For the life of me, I can't find it in New York State law, but I'm not going to argue at this point.
And I want to let the council know, neither can our council, who's looked, cannot find any case precedent. But I figured better safe than sorry. So the committee went back and looked at how they could adjust it and make it even less than 5%.
Yes, and we looked at the other factors, other criteria here, but the main thing for us, being a small city, as opposed to a congressional district, a state senatorial or assembly district, or a large city, such as the pamphlet I have is from New York City, there weren't a lot of things that we could do in adjusting the boundaries. And so our boundary adjustment expert, Robin Markenhagen, is here. Robin, can you tell the council how exactly you came up with the figures that you did?
I mean, to me, it was just a big math problem, and the first time we thought we solved it within the 10%, and then we had to go back, and so I just kept looking at it. So I'll go ward by ward. You don't see the changes in between. Ward 1 really stays the same, except for adding the little piece between, I can't tell, all the way up to Dix Avenue, which really makes sense. With this configuration, it leaves the mayor in his back to his Ward 2. Ward 2 was pretty easy. I knew I had to cut some of it off. The problem we had to start was Ward 4 obviously needed more population. And so it had to go somewhere. And the first configuration we did, we really just took it all from Ward 3. And so this time, with some feedback from everybody, I had a chance to go, well, let's look at something differently. And so what I call the Picasso section of town, where it kind of abuts out, it's not as smooth as we would want it to be, but that's where our existing elected officials live, particularly at Liberty and Diana up there. So I got that in, and then I kept trying to work around to make sure that they had enough space around them. You weren't at the total edge of which you are. And then the only thing I really changed in Ward 5 was I went all the way up to Broad Street, which kind of makes sense. Everything below Broad Street would be Ward 5, and then took a little piece out to again add some to Ward 4. So when it all came said and done, then my math was wrong. And they first called me a genius, my math was wrong, and we thought we weren't going to be able to do it. And I went and tried one more time, and then we got it within, 3 of them are exactly the same number. And that shocked me, that shocked Sarah. When it all came back, it was just kind of like it was the best we could do. Mr. Lapham, we made sure we got you and Councilman Palmer around the park so that you can share the responsibilities, and we had discussed that at a previous meeting, so I think that's a fair compromise, and I really think it's the best we could do. And in years to come, every 10 years, if your elected officials move more towards the center of the district, then maybe it can be smoothed out.
Could I ask a question if I could? It just has to do with the map. So in Ward 2, does the bikeway become the demarcation point between 2 and 3 up at the top? It's
Yes.
just the bikes.
Yes. That was deemed to be pretty important when we thought about that.
And really, if you're talking about neighborhoods, that separates the neighborhoods from one side kind of the other, and it was a good place to call it off, and again, the numbers worked.
So you didn't purposely, I mean, that's pretty amazing that three of the 5 wards are 2,982.
It was not on purpose. It was, we were all shocked. And I actually didn't call it out. I sent it to Sarah and I said, can you calculate this? I'm like, I think it's pretty close. And so she confirmed.
And Robin thought he made an error, so we called him genius before, thought he made an error. He's no genius. Then he came back, oh, he corrected it. He is a genius.
He can do a Rubik's Cube.
Can't do a Rubik's Cube, but again, it was just mad, and it was fun. I thought, it was sitting on my desk, and I ignored some other work, and I go get work into it, and it was fun.
So
Is
we
your
complete,
committee
I'm sorry.
unanimous in its recommendation?
Absolutely, yes. And Lee Braggs, who couldn't be here and couldn't be at the last meeting, emailed me and said that he was in favor of that as well. So it was unanimous. Actually, every decision that we made through the process has been unanimous. So that's consensus at its best.
I did some, for the council, you'll note that Ben's suggested amendments to section 6, I think it was, Ben, or section E?
Yeah.
6 is now part of this law. So that will allow, I went and looked, so if you take a look at us, we were elected November 21, we took office in 22. There will be another election with no change, January 26th. They would then this next council would take office. Then January 30th. Then in 2030, the census will be done. The results, I think, come out in 2031. So that would allow another redistricting task force to look at this in 2032. They would be able to redistrict that, make those recommendations, consider all that we've left them, this information, and so therefore that the elections in November 2033 would be, they would be able to say these are the wards before the election. So anybody running would need to live in one of those elections. So in 10 years, that's how this could work, and you don't have to worry about, they may decide they want to change rough the edges, right? They might decide to take a block and put it one place or another. You certainly would have the leeway to do that. They'd also be able to, as Ben's recommendations do, they could decide whether they wish to not consider having every piece of a ward hold a piece of downtown. If they wish to make a truly east end and a west end, south end and a north end, they could, well, they'd have a fifth Anyway, or a downtown, yeah, you could have a downtown and then north, south, east, west. If the council and the redistricting task force wish to do that, they could. So that works out as well. Any questions?
I have a question for, with the redistricting for Ward 4. Currently, the polling place for Ward 4 is Village Green, and that'll be in Ward 5. So I don't know if that's, is that just something for the county to have to work out?
That would be something for the Board of Elections
Yeah.
to consider to
Okay.
move a location.
You know what there is about if the Rose Gardens is in that ward, with their new community room, they could do elections there.
Perfect.
Yep.
Great. Any other questions? So, if the council's good, public, anyone from the public like to come and make some questions? Thank you for your work, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I can't thank you enough. And that piece of artwork you're wearing, Rob and that's something right there. Must be some other genius who made that many years ago. Let's see. So, with that, I believe we are ready to close the public hearing. Do we have a motion? Or do we need a motion? Anybody second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. So with that, I believe we are ready to open up the Tuesday, July 12th regular session of the Common Council meeting. Here it's now past 7:30. So tonight we have the Pledge of Allegiance, and I believe that should be led by the First Ward Councilman, Mr. Donovan.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we'll open the floor to public comment. If anyone would like to make a comment to the council, please come up to the microphone and tell us your name and your address, please.
My name is Kate Bruce. I live at 14 Hudson here in Glens Falls. And I appreciate the work that all of you public officials do for the city, but there are 4 other individuals who work for the city of Glens Falls. And I want to call your attention to some of the things that I've noticed that requires action on your part. The first has to do with a police officer, and his name is Zach. I'm sorry, I don't know his last name. But on late June, he responded to a 911 call regarding a dangerously large snapping turtle. I am serious, which was preventing cars from leaving a public parking garage and endangering the safety of passing pedestrians. So Zach, with his foot, quickly removed the snapping turtle that was about this large away from the entrance to the parking garage and got it into a container so that animal control could come and pick it up. But then Officer Zach entertained and educated the crowd that was watching all of this with an incredible depth of knowledge about wildlife and the habitat of turtles in Glens Falls. So I think Zach deserves a special thank you for being that kind of public employee. The second one is Tony O'Keefe. When you come into City Hall, most of us aren't coming in to have an enjoyable day. We're coming in to do business. But Tony O'Keefe, down in the lobby when you come in, takes your contact information, but he always, always welcomes people when you walk in the door. So you feel as if he has welcomed you into his home. So I would say that Tony O'Keefe is a great ambassador for the city of Glens Falls. And so for the record, I say, thank you, Tony O'Keefe, for a job well done. The next person is Bernie Gray, who works in the mayor's office. And since I stop by the mayor's office occasionally, she probably really would like to roll her eyes and say, not you again. But instead, she always says, welcome, how can I help you? Are you here to see the mayor? And she's just such a pleasant person. And her demeanor says a great deal about how Glens Falls values its citizens and respects them. So I say, thank you, Bernie Gray, for a job well done. And finally, Mary White, I think I have her name correctly, deserves everyone's thanks for the work she does. It's kind of behind the scenes work, but she gives very careful attention to all of the details involved in cleaning this old building, so that those of us who enter really appreciate the magnificence and charm of City Hall. So I say, thank you, Mary White, for a job well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That is awesome. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Seeing none, we'll go to we have a representative from Glens Falls Hospital to speak to the council regarding cancer prevention action. This is number 12 on your agenda packet. Shannon? Oh, name, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just in the back. Good evening, everyone. I'm Shannon Morrison-Gaxel. I'm the manager of the Health Promotion Center at Glens Falls Hospital. Our department houses 3 Department of Health grants, all focused on keeping our community healthy and active. We also have a heavy emphasis on prevention. And the initiative I'm speaking about tonight is in that vein. I'm talking about our Cancer Prevention and Action Initiative. This is an initiative that is promoting sun safety as cancer prevention. We are in year 2. We just began year 2 of our 3-year grant. Our first year was a lot of capacity building, but in that time we've been able to partner with a lot of communities, schools, daycares, and businesses, camps, recreation areas, etc. And what we do is help those organizations put policies in place to promote sun safety for both their staff and their patrons. We have a heavy emphasis on promoting this safety for children. As we know, the best time to prevent skin cancer via sun safety is in youth. As you may know, skin cancer is the #1 cancer in the United States. Melanoma is the deadliest form of all skin cancer. So this continues to be a problem, but fortunately, we can prevent it. This can look like sunscreen dispensers. If anyone has been to Gurney Lane recently, you may have noticed sunscreen dispensers and signage with instructions on how to best use it. We provided UV protective clothing for people who work outdoors, or camp counselors, or kids. We have provided shade structures to some local schools and daycares so that there's adequate shade so that kids can still play outside during those peak times. So we have been partnering with the City of Glens Falls in an effort to implement some of these resolutions or policies in our area.
Hi, everyone. I'm the interim rec director, and we're very anxious to partner with the hospital. Certainly at our rec areas, if you look around at the partnerships that she has created, or the hospital has created with the town of Queensbury and the village of Fort Edward. So we thought, working with the human resource director, Judy Villa-White, as well, that this was very important education program that we could bring to our rec areas, and we could also bring to our rec staff and some of our own city staff to educate them on skin cancer and how important it is to wear sunblock and use protection. It is preventable, and we just wanted to utilize the program at the hospital.
Thank you.
And we have some samples for you all too.
So tomorrow we're going to have Take a Bite downtown. I was wondering if there's anything that you could like, distribute at that.
So as a matter of fact, one of the other grants that we work on in our office, Creating Healthy Schools and Communities, is funding Bike Glens Falls. They're having an event tomorrow, Take a Bite, and we will be there, and I can bring all sorts of information and sunscreen and glasses and giveaways as well.
That'd be great.
Awesome.
And I'm hoping that I spend a lot of time outside, so, in my new assignment. Thank you.
Is this the right time in the meeting for Sidewalk?
Sure, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you.
So item 12 and 13 are simply approval from the council to produce the policies, so that would help us be eligible for the support and the partner with the hospital, just so you're all aware. Anybody else like to address the council? Seeing no one, we'll go to committee reports. Councilman Donovan.
No report.
Councilman Lander.
Labor Committee met this evening again with the fire department. We are strategically moving forward, and we're trying to make sure that we end up with a contract that's satisfactory to the union at the fire department and the taxpayers of the city.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Palmer.
The Recreation Committee met last week. We continue to kind of get more detailed about our goals for rehabbing the basketball courts at Eastfield, and we are hoping to put together an RFP shortly for that. We also continue to talk about the proposed dog park at Haviland's Cove, and we just have to get a little more clarification on exact locations. There are some environmental concerns with certain areas, so as soon as we have that finished, we have a resident who's partnering with us who wants to do some fundraising for that, and DPW may be able to do a lot of the kind of groundwork, so we're hoping that we can get that up and running without too much cost or fanfare, so we can have that going too, but we'll keep you posted.
Councilman Lappin.
Okay, so tech committee's met a couple of times over the past month or past couple of weeks. We provided WISP with StoreTech, who also assisted us on putting together the WISP in the first place. We're looking to see about putting some revisions to it and then getting some training around it. We're also looking more into providers for the website. We're going to be following up with some of the ones that we've gone over already, some of the things that we've gotten in discussions with them, and kind of have a better plan of attack for what we're going to do going forward. Also, the Climate Smart Community Task Force met on July 6th. We went over the greenhouse gas inventories and climate action plans that are being done by their consultants, Terrace Group. And we're coming up with a plan for the Climate Smart Communities grant that the mayor had forwarded on to us a couple of months ago about getting that all followed up. Jeff is working on that, and Suzanne's here is going to be kind of managing it on a going forward basis once we've got it caught up, once we've got it up to date for her. We're doing some advanced benchmarking, 24 months of data from electrical providers, just for following up things that we already have, just so we have metrics. We've talked about some fleet inventories and shared that with people in the group. We talked about the possibilities of electric transit around the transit hub, proposed transit hub, or multimodal transit hub. And we talked about Bike Glens Falls for the meeting that Amy was just talking about. Tomorrow there's going to be a demonstration event, and we'll have some stuff there for Glens Forks Communities and for Sustainability Committee. And that was that for that. So
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Good?
Nothing at this time.
Nothing at this time. Okay. So then we will move on to voice vote. Resolution 1 is a resolution approving the minutes of the June 28, 2022 meeting of the Glens Falls Common Council. Resolution 2 is to approve the city clerk's office monthly PVB report as attached.
Voice vote is resolution
Oh,
one. That's a business word.
gotcha. So the voice vote is,
First, to approve the minutes.
yeah. So do we have a motion?
moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There we go. Thank you. And so we don't need a second for number 2?
Now,
There we go. Roll call. Thank you. So are there any resolutions the council would like to pull for conversation or consideration? Hearing none, we'll move to roll call vote. So resolution 3 is to increase the revenue code A00999-2665 by $450 to sale of equipment and increase the expense code A23120-4423 motor vehicle highway maintenance by $450 for the sale of a 2016 Ford Interceptor to Clark's Used Auto as it has become irreparable. In Resolution 4, to increase revenue code A00999-1589 miscellaneous public safety income by $9,240 and increase budget expense code A23310-1000 police and department personal services by $9,240. Resolution 5, to increase A00999-2707 police athletically restricted code by $1,140, increase the budget expense code appropriation A2299004479 PAL program by $1,140. 6 is a resolution to approve the encroachment permit for Hudson Headwaters Health Network, 38 LaRose Street, Glens Falls, is approved by Mayor Collins on June 22nd, 2022, subject to retroactive approval by the Common Council. And to have Frank and Derek Leo Enterprises, 123 Maple Street, Glens Falls, close off for part of LaRose Street for sanitation sewer hookup on June 23rd, 2022, with the stipulations from City Engineer's Office as attached. 7 is a resolution to approve an encroachment permit for Mikado Restaurant, 195 Glen Street, Glens Falls, for placement of an awning over public sidewalk, current date through May 31st, 2023, with the understanding that the permit must be renewed annually. Resolution 8 to approve the mobile food unit license application from Ashley Robinson, 5 Washburn Avenue, Glens Falls, for 2022 seasonal, which is 6-month license to vend at City Glens Falls, July 13th through 2022 through December 31st, 2022, in compliance with COVID guidelines. 9 is a resolution to approve encroachment permit for Catherine LeConte, 144 Glen Street, tax map 309-.28-4-8, Glens Falls Police Scaffolding on the sidewalk next to the building, and have Art District of Glens Falls paint a mural on the side of the building from August 1st, 2022 through August 17th, 2022, with the understanding the area is to be cordoned off to allow for pedestrian access on the sidewalks according to ADA regulations. 10 is a resolution to accept the updated work of the City of Glens Falls Independent Redistricting Task Force as of July 12, 2022, and to accept the redrawn Glens Falls Ward Districting Map for continued public hearing and open discussion pursuant to proposed local law 4-2022. 11 is a resolution to set a public hearing for proposed local law 03-2022 at 7:25, and that should be July 26th, not July 28th. July 26, 2022, for a zoning change at 1 Namick Place, Glens Falls, New York, to authorize the city clerk to post notice of said public hearing. 12, a resolution to approve the establishment of a policy for Glens Falls Recreation Department leadership, staff designed to mitigate the risk of effects associated with prolonged exposure to ultraviolet radiation as attached. 13 is a resolution to approve the establishment of a policy for Glens Falls Rec Department designed to encourage behaviors to mitigate the risk of effects of associated prolonged exposure to ultraviolet radiation among the general public, especially park patrons and park participants in the Glens Falls Recreation Department programs and activities. 14 is a resolution to approve the warrant. Do we have a motion to go to roll call vote?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so roll call vote, please.
Councilman Donahue?
Yes.
Councilman Landry?
Yes.
Councilwoman Palmer? Yes. Councilman Lappel?
Yes.
Councilman Gooden?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Let's see. Old business, Councilman Donahue. Old business. Councilman Landry. Old business. Oh, sorry, am I forgetting something? Oh, yeah, it's coming. We'll do it under new business. Sorry. Thank you. Old business, Councilman Landry.
Just one item, Mayor, if we could. I've noticed that there's a lot of piles of dry brush around the city.
Yep.
There's people who unfortunately put it out in the street after our pickup had ended. It's now dry. It's probably plugging up storm drains. It'll probably be set on fire. If there's any way that the city DPW, I don't want to acknowledge that people don't have to do things in a timely manner, but I think the other people in their neighborhoods suffer from that and get those picked up.
Make the request. Superintendent. Yeah, and it could be, some of the bigger piles could be a code violation, but we're trying to avoid that, so I will definitely speak to Superintendent Gerard about it. So, sorry, old business, Councilwoman Palmer.
Only to thank everybody who's made the 3rd of July event happen. My family was able to be there, and I saw DPW staff, police staff, fire staff. You were there. I heard your address. Amy Collins was there. The beautification committee did a lot. The donors, the vendors. It's a beautiful event, and thanks to everyone who made it possible.
Very wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Old business, Councilman Lapp.
I don't know if this counts as old business, but there was a family that came in from out of state, and their dog escaped from one of the downtown businesses, and it was lost for a couple of weeks. And just on, I guess it was Sunday night, the dog was found, and the family was reunited with it, and it was a really nice story. I saw it in Steve Caparizzo, who does the weather in Albany, had story about, and just kind of, it was a really great story about how people in Glens Falls, came together and were, from all different walks of life, going around and hunting this dog down and getting it reunited with the family. And I think that's a family that's going to have a very good opinion of Glens Falls people, and I just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you. My wife was roaming the streets looking for that dog for days. Yes, they're healthy, so thank you. Councilwoman, Councilwoman Gooden, old business, please. No, thank you. So, new business, Councilman Donovan. Any new business?
No business this time.
Councilman Landry.
A couple items. We appreciate getting these from the city. There is a posting today for a free medical clinic put on by Remote Area Medical. It's going to be held down in Greenwich at the Washington County Fairgrounds. The cost of healthcare today is difficult for everybody. For some people who don't have any at all, they're advertising free dental, free vision, free medical, women's health, and so on. So on our website, that's a wonderful thing that they're doing. The Glens Falls Backpack Program, which provides free food to needy children year-round, but in the summer in particular when they're not in school, announced that they'll be setting up a separate distribution site for the summer at Village Green. It's already done at Eastfield, and I'd like to thank Amy Collins for her work to get this second site up and running. And I'd like to congratulate the Troy Shirt Factory for all that they offered. Similarly to what Ben just said, I have an individual who just moved into my neighborhood, who came up here from Staten Island, a couple of retired college professors. They bought Chip's house on Lexington Avenue.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I went to meet them just to say hello, and it was amazing to find out that they had come up here during COVID, stayed with some friends in Chestertown, and then decided that they were going to get out of New York City, and they looked at Glens, they looked at Saratoga, and they looked at Poughkeepsie, and they looked at New Paltz. They picked us. And they picked us because they'd spent some time at the shirt factory at one point in time, and they traveled up here. They'd been to things at Crandall Park. It was all about who we were that brought them here, so that's a nice thing to hear. Just like Ben said, we do a lot of things right. That's all.
Thank you. New business, Councilwoman Palmer.
I just wanted to mention that we have several job openings in the city right now, so if anybody is interested or knows anyone, I don't know if we're still looking for lifeguards, are we?
I believe if we had lifeguards, we would expand our hours. Right now, we have limited hours at 2 days that we can't open at Eastfield, so yes.
And then we have openings in the clerk's office and building and codes, a new social worker position, so it's a good time to apply for a job in the city.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. New business, Councilman Lapp.
I'm just gonna plug the Bike Glens Falls Complete Streets demo tomorrow with a take a bike to take a bite. Common routes. They do their rides on Wednesday, and a portion of them are going to come up and they're going to go and check out Take a Bite and check out the demonstration program. It's it's a really neat thing. It's a good idea to show the public different things that we could be doing to make things safer for pedestrians. There was just a release today from about pedestrian safety. That's something I'm going to send around to everybody, just so you know. So that's tomorrow. The streets will be, we'll have the demonstration stuff at about 11, and then it'll be contemporaneous with different vendors and everything with Take a Bite, so between 4 and 7. We'll clean it up at 7.
So will they still be there between 11 and 4?
Yes.
Okay, good. I thought so. I was
Yeah.
hoping to stop.
I'm planning on going to the Board of Public Safety meeting and then inviting the commissioners down to see
Sure, I
what's going on.
can make the meeting really brief and we can all have a meeting there. How's that?
Sounds
That's great. That's great. Thank you. New business, Councilwoman Good.
I just wanted to put a plug in with the Haviland's Cove being closed. I've gotten really great feedback for the swimming lessons that are being held at the high school. I've heard it's going very well and well attended, and it's been a really great alternative. So thank the city for making that happen still.
Thank you.
And the Cove.
Thank you. I've got 3 things for new business. Just one is I'm about to pass out to you our current sidewalk paving list. Thank you for your patience. I know many of you have been waiting. I also have spreadsheets that show each of your concerns and whether we put a tracking sheet that can say this is what you asked for, and you might see where the concern is stricken out because it's been added to the list, or if not, why, and what we were thinking. Some we said no, but we can try it next year. And so what you're seeing is me change the entire process, so to make sure that concerns from this year that don't get met are on next year, and that's where we begin next year. And so I'm redoing the entire process. Plus, the process needed to change because of the amount. We're spending more on both paving and sidewalks than probably ever before. And so therefore, we were able to put out a bid to larger cement contractors. We got 5 different bids. Then one was awarded, and the the bid winner as we announced the winner, then came back to us and had to withdraw their bid because they had forgotten to include truck transportation. It was a significant amount. So it's going back out to bid tomorrow. And just so you know, that the person who had complained about the bid process had sent you all and myself an email. They're going to be invited to reapply as well. And we go with the lowest bidder that's reasonable and responsible, right? We don't have to go with the lowest bidder. We go with the lowest bidder if we believe the work can really be done and performed in the way and manner if it's bid, right? So I wanted to let you know that, and I'm going to pass these out in just a second. Next is I wanted to notify the council that I've interviewed Art Belden, a Glens Falls resident, and decided to appoint Mr. Belden to the planning board. I wanted you to know that was happening. And let's see. So the last one is a last minute resolution. I've sent you I passed along the information. I'll read the resolution to you. You have background information. This is very uncommon. And so if any of you are uncomfortable with passing this resolution, you certainly can, and I understand. Or if you're not comfortable, let me know, and I won't ask for a motion. The resolution is for $22,903 to be used ARPA money to purchase phone system that will go throughout the city. It will move the entire city to one phone system. The long-term expenses of the phone.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We don't actually have it.
Oh, so sorry. Let me hand this out to you. I apologize. I'll give you one, two that way, Karen. That's one package. And that. So what you're going to find is a simple resolution, and behind it, the information about the phone systems. It's a company we've used, and they're doing well. But we've had several different companies that were doing work for us for different departments, and that didn't seem to make sense to me. We were renewing anyway. We have such old phone systems at water and sewer that their system is going to be rendered useless on August 2nd. And I apologize, I thought that it was not until the end of August, so that's why you're getting this last second resolution. The cost to us, the yearly cost to us, will actually be as cost savings. We'll also have another cost savings once we pay the $22,903.60 for the phone systems. We won't have a $4,000 we used to pay in addition to our phone systems. We paid $4,000 per year in a maintenance contract with one of our current phone systems, which we won't be paying now. So that $4,000 a year will go away. The actual cost of the phone systems across the city will be almost identical to what they currently are once we purchase the phones, which I'm suggesting that we use ARPA money for. So it is definitely a cost savings. It makes sense. You'll be able to, from one department to the other, to actually be able to pick up the phone. It will also, there's also a phone app called the Unified Phone System that will allow voice messages to appear as emails for department heads. I've had that pulled the department heads together. Everybody has agreed that this is the best system for us to move forward, but I obviously would have normally given you much more time to look this over and to have those findings. So, having said that, this is unusual. Is anybody not comfortable with this resolution?
Question?
Yes, sir.
So we're paying a $4,000 maintenance contract now on the system that we have.
That's correct.
If I understand this on almost the last page, there will be a maintenance contract included with this at no charge.
That's correct.
For how long?
I believe for as long as we pay the annual contract, the life of the system as we use it. As long as we're using their system. I can confirm that for you if you'd like.
Okay, no, that's right.
Yep.
That was my question too. Is there a length of this contract that we're agreeing to?
So $22,903 this done?
There is, but we can actually, I wanted to do the whole city. Right now, we don't need a resolution to let ahead just the water and sewer folks. They have the money in their budget anyway, and they could do just the water and sewer. But I'm actually gonna, I can't answer your question, and so I'm not gonna give it to you. We'll just, I'll bring to you at the next council meeting. They answer the question, we'll move for the full contract across the city. Right now, I'll just allow the water and sewer to go ahead and renew their contract as they were planning to.
I was trying to read this very small print, but I can't.
Yeah, no, and so it's a great question and very reasonable, and so I'm just not gonna bring it forward to you. Know that you'll be getting it soon. Feel free to look through the information, ask us any questions you can or that you need, and I'll have answers before I bring it back to you. Okay? So let's see, the next is I'm going to pass out, and I have extra copies for, so the first is the street resurfacing program for the streets that are on it. If you want to, Karen. Bring it this way. We don't have a resolution or anything, I just want to get you these. I can send them electronically as well. I'll make them, put these on the table for public. I don't see any press here. I'll definitely make them available to the press as well. And I don't want to give three that way. And then and then, yeah, the thing I'm most excited about, which doesn't mean that it's perfect, but is a request tracker that will help us to not have the same concern we've had before, which is trying to figure out, well, what, last year I asked for the street, we never got to it, and where does that live? And it didn't transfer from year to year, so progress, not perfection. There's that one. There. This way, I apologize for the papers. And then the final one is a water sewer request tracker. Because some of the requests we're making were actual, they didn't belong on either list. Give you the example, Bob, for you, it's what I call Lake Sutton. By Mr. Suckman over on, is that Lucas, right? So that's really a water and sewer thing. Diana, for you, that's the gentleman's home, that the bad drainage, right? So that's a water and sewer. We're gonna repave just that piece, not with the entire company to go out to paving, but we're gonna repave that and hopefully address that way.
Is that, okay, which one is?
Sorry, that's the third one is a water and sewer, water sewer request tracker. Did I not give it to you? It's the last one I gave you.
Yeah.
So,
But it doesn't, okay.
so,
I can talk more specifically.
Yeah.
Because there's one gentleman that you might be referring to is not on here.
oh, I got you.
So,
Oh, no, it's not. You're right, but it will be done, and I don't think it appears on street resurfacing either. Thank you. I'll make sure it is.
it will be.
Yes, it will definitely be, because I know we put it on Tom's list, but it's not going to be on, you know what I mean? It's not going out to bid. We're not going to do the whole street. We're going to do his section.
Okay, because I see it on the
Is it
request
there?
tracker,
Yeah.
but I don't see it on the.
Yeah, it won't
request
be,
honored.
gotcha, oh, I'm sorry. So, I got you. So we'll, I'll make sure I follow.
Okay.
All right. Great. So there's that. The last thing is, I believe we'll open back up for public comment. Having none, we need to adjourn for just a few minutes, and I'd like a motion to go in executive session to talk about contract negotiation. We go down to the mayor's conference room for that. I won't be asking you to pass any resolution or take any action. I just want to speak to you about a contract resolution. It should only take a few moments. and then we'll have a motion. So Megan, I believe you can leave, and we can stop the thing, and afterwards I'll just send you the note on who made the motion to come back out and then end the meeting. Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.